In a plenary session, Robert's Rules of Order provides a framework for us to conduct business in a way that is fair and orderly and respectful of diverse voices. Only one item at a time can be considered under parliamentary law, and members have to be recognized by the moderator or the chair before speaking to ensure equitable participation. Business comes before the body through motions. These can certainly come from individuals, but in many cases in our church meetings, it's committees that will bring motions to the floor for consideration. A motion can be brought to the floor, and if an individual brings a motion, then a second has to be acquired. But motions brought from a committee, however, will come to the floor with an implied second since they come from a body. Most matters are decided by a majority vote, although there are some actions, particularly those that limit a member's rights, such as the motion for the previous question, which closes debate, which require a two-thirds vote. The moderator's role in all of this is to guide the process impartially, stating motions, recognizing speakers, and keeping track of the discussion while protecting the rights of the majority to rule and protecting the right of the minority to be heard. Now, as important as Robert's Rules of Order is, it's really also imperative that everyone familiarize themselves with the standing rules for a conference meeting. Standing rules supersede parliamentary law and are generally a specific and practical guideline set that help the conference meeting conduct business. Often they'll cover things like time limits for speakers, the order of business, voting procedures, the use of technology, attendance policies, and the handling of documents or reports. These rules help provide clarity for all members and help to make sure that the meeting runs smoothly, efficiently, and fairly while ensuring that everyone knows what to expect. To run a smooth resolution hearing, plenary session, or business meeting, the key is preparation. It's important for all delegates to review the agenda beforehand so they know what's going to be discussed. And again, be familiar with the standing rules for your meeting so the business can be handled efficiently and fairly. And don't forget to use your parliamentarian. It's their role, rather, to help the meeting run smoothly by advising the chair on proper ways to make motions, to conduct debate, and hold votes according to the rules, helping to prevent mistakes and confusion. The parliamentarian can clarify questions about orders of business, points of order, or procedural steps and ensure that everyone's rights are protected. The parliamentarian will not make a decision for the group, but their guidance helps to make sure the meeting is fair and organized and efficient and allows the assembly to really focus on the business at hand. If something surprising were to come up, a member might stand and rise to a question, a parliamentary inquiry. If it's a question about a procedure, a member could ask for a parliamentary inquiry. And at that point, they're asking the chair or the moderator to explain what's going on. Perhaps it's a strange vote. Perhaps someone's made a motion to table a motion or an amendment, and someone needs a little bit more information. A parliamentary inquiry or rise to a question to ask for further information from the chair. And if the chair then or the moderator has a question about how to answer, they may consider consulting with the parliamentarian for further ruling or information as well. I think the biggest thing I have to offer to a meeting of the church is that we do run into very specific challenges when we meet as the church. We have the opportunity to balance our mission and our work with parliamentary law, which means that we're charged with conducting our business as a conference in a way that is both orderly and faithful to our prophetic witness. In doing so, we demonstrate Christ-like love and patience and grace, ensuring that the decisions that are made with integrity, but also with compassion for the entire community. I'm the Reverend Derek Rittenauer, pastor of Mount Calvary United Church of Christ in Woodstock, Virginia, which is located in the beautiful heart of the Shenandoah Valley and part of the Central Atlantic Conference. I became interested and involved in parliamentary procedure when I was a high school student as a part of my FFA chapter. We participated in the state parliamentary procedure contest. And as I moved on in life, I became an agriculture teacher myself, and have coached a number of state winning parliamentary procedure teams. Um, in addition to being parliamentarian for the Central Atlantic Conference, where I hold standing, I've also served as a parliamentarian and consultant for the Rocky Mountain Conference of the United Church of Christ and as parliamentarian to the General Synod of the United Church of Christ. In addition, again, to my work as a pastor, I am an educator, having over 20 years experience as a middle school and high school teacher, assistant principal, and school principal. Currently, I am teaching agriculture, and I currently coach our FFA chapter's parliamentary procedure team on top of many other roles I play.
Hi, I'm Reverend Cheryl Burke. I am on the conference staff as the Associate Conference Minister for Clergy Care and Formation, and I'm going to do some work on training for the annual meeting resolution hearing and plenary areas. This particular training is meant to be for the trained neutral moderators, the prophetic integrity missionary team chair, resolution committee staff person, resolution committee, annual meeting moderator, annual meeting parliamentarian, and the executive committee prior to the annual meeting, and anybody else that would like to know a little bit more about how we do resolutions at annual meeting. So let's start with the beginning. What, when, who, just kind of the basics here. The annual meeting, first of all, is the representative body of the Michigan Conference and is composed of delegates chosen from among the members of its local churches, clergy, and the Michigan Conference Board of Directors. That's the meeting we're getting ready for. Resolutions are a type of formal motion. They're submitted to the annual meeting of the Michigan Conference, and there's two types of resolutions that we might see at annual meeting. One is a resolution of witness, and a resolution of witness is an expression of Christian conviction concerning a moral, ethical, or religious matter confronting the church, the nation, or the world. Because that is a resolution about a broader body and about the world in effect, it requires a 2/3 vote to pass. A prudential resolution is something that is a resolution about us. So it establishes policy, institutes, revises structure or procedures, authorizes programs, approves directions, or requests actions. That just requires a majority vote to pass. So who can bring a resolution? Lots of different people can bring a resolution to our annual meeting. A local church of the Michigan Conference, an association of the Michigan Conference, a mission area team of the Michigan Conference, the Michigan Conference UCC Board of Directors, or the Executive Committee, and also a group of 7 individuals who are delegates to the Michigan Conference from 3 different local churches and at least 2 different associations can bring a resolution. So resolutions speak to the church, not for the church. When we pass a resolution, we're just telling the church, this is what the annual meeting of the Michigan Conference decided or felt the Holy Spirit moving them to decide in that particular moment. So it speaks to the church just to listen to it. So what happens with the resolution? It may request, but not direct or require action of other bodies of the Michigan Conference, like associations or local churches. So we can request that you do something as a local church, but not require it. The only bodies a resolution may direct action of are the annual meeting itself, the Michigan Conference UCC Board of Directors, the Michigan Conference Executive Committee, or a mission area team that might be working on that particular area that the resolution addresses. So how does a resolution get to annual meeting? There's a number of steps that happen. So the resolution submitters, someone who writes up a resolution, has an idea, they write a draft form to kind of get an idea of what they want to say. That draft goes to the resolution committee by May 1st. Then, using the resolution guidelines, they submit their final resolution by June 1st. After June 1st, any resolution that's submitted is out of compliance and won't be considered unless it's an emergency resolution, something that couldn't have been anticipated or submitted beforehand because of some world event or some event in the church that happened after the deadline. The burden of proof for that is on the submitter, and the board of director chair will review the content and context for late submissions and will determine whether the final resolution will be accepted or not. The resolution committee, these are just some other details for you. The resolution committee may not consider similar resolutions to those approved in the last 5 years and will recommend that the submitter consider petitioning the annual meeting planning team to offer a workshop on the resolution topic at the annual meeting instead. So we're not going to pass resolutions or even look at resolutions on the same topic year after year after year. After 5 years, we might go back and look at it again. Resolutions cannot be presented as reaffirmations of previous Michigan Conference actions or General Synod resolutions either. Again, those speak for themselves. We don't need to affirm it. So when we have the resolution, it's in its final form, it's been accepted to go to annual meeting, an informational session is possible, not mandatory, but possible. And that would be a meeting or session held before annual meeting to provide some background and information, have some conversation, question and answers about the final resolution so people can kind of get some ideas before we get to annual meeting. Now, what happens at annual meeting? The first step at annual meeting is a hearing on the resolution. And that's just a dedicated meeting where we have a chance to hear what the resolution is about. They will be held outside of the plenary, so it's just an informational meeting again. However, there are delegates to this particular session. Hearings will be held at the meeting for the purpose of hearing about the proposed action, asking questions, and making a recommendation to the plenary. So presiding over each hearing will be a trained neutral moderator appointed by the resolution committee chair. Hearings for each resolution will be about 1 hour, ordinarily a minimum of 1 hour in length. 25 delegates are randomly assigned to attend each hearing based on annual meeting registration. They will have a vote in the hearing. Others are welcome to come and may speak, listen, and learn about the hearing. The trained neutral moderator, resolution committee, and staff will direct the 25 hearing delegates to sit at the front of the hearing meeting, and the trained neutral moderator will exercise firm control over the hearing and the delegates to effectively run the hearing and complete the required governance work in a limited time frame. So our trained neutral moderators need to keep things moving. They'll make sure the delegates are at the front so they can see them. We'll make sure that they get voice first, but other people in the room can also ask questions and have voice on the resolution. Delegates will be given priority, however. Professional and respectful decorum shall be maintained throughout the consideration of each resolution. Public displays and comments questioning the Christian commitment or character of others are inappropriate, both during debate and after voting. After one warning, the neutral moderator may direct a disruptive delegate or visitor to leave the hearing. The submitter and/or submitter's designated person will be given voice for the first 20 minutes of the hearing for the purpose of presenting their resolution, and thereafter may speak only when asked a clarifying question by the trained neutral moderator. 3 pros and 3 con statements will be recorded from the hearing, if there are 3 of each, for presentation at the plenary session. During the hearing, there is some editing authority for the delegates. So the delegates may ask to strike whereas statements in a resolution, but they may not edit them. They can just say that's not accurate or we want to take that one out. They only may amend the therefore be it resolved statements. All resolutions assigned to a hearing at the annual meeting will be presented during the annual meeting plenary session with a recommendation for action by the annual meeting based on the outcomes of the hearing. The only outcomes are adopt it, table with no action, or defeat it. So adopt means we say yes. Table with no action means more information is needed to consider the resolution fairly. The length of and reason for tabling must be included in the hearing's neutral moderator's recommendation. Defeat means we don't agree with this and we want the conference to say no to it, either because there's lack of alignment with UCC polity, Michigan Conference UC bylaws, Michigan Conference UCC polity or policy, Michigan Conference annual meeting standing rules, or the Michigan Conference mission, vision, and values, or the risk-benefit assessment of the resolution's potential impact on the vitality of the Michigan Conference. Depending on submission context, the resolution committee may also take into consideration alignment with the UCC bylaws and UCC constitution in their recommendations, and that's the hearing recommendations. The hearing moderator will bring the hearing recommended action for the annual meeting to the plenary. And again, it must be one of the three possible hearing outcomes: adopt, table with no action, or defeat. So getting ready, we've done the hearing, it's over. There's a recommendation ready by the neutral moderator. Now the neutral moderator, the resolution committee chair or designated person, and the prophetic integrity mission area team chair or designee will meet for a debrief session to align around hearing outcomes and secure a written copy of the resolution in final plenary presentation form. So if any changes were made, that's where we'll get that written copy. Staff will communicate and distribute the final copy of the amended resolution as it came out of the hearing to delegates prior to the beginning of the plenary session. They will also work with staff to create updated resolution slides for visual presentation during the plenary session. And that will contain the final therefore be it resolved statements, the 3 pros and 3 cons for each resolution expressed during the hearings, and the hearing's recommended action for the annual meeting. This must be one of the 3 possible hearing outcomes that we talked about before. And then we get to the plenary. So all of that pre-work is just kind of letting people know what this resolution is about, doing some tweaks so that it comes to the annual meeting plenary in the best shape that it possibly can come. The annual meeting moderator, which is different than the neutral moderator, this is the person who moderates the whole annual meeting, will moderate the presentation of each resolution during the plenary session with the support of the parliamentarian. The annual meeting moderator and the parliamentarian should join the neutral moderator on the presenter's platform at the front of the plenary session during the resolution presentation. So we've got a number of people up front presenting and a number of people that have a role in this part of the meeting. After reading the therefore be it resolved statements, which may be on the slides as well, the trained neutral moderator will make the motion to adopt the resolution, including its name. Even if the recommendation is to defeat it, you make the motion to adopt the resolution, including the name that's there. A second is not required because it's coming from that committee. Using the slides created for the presentation, the neutral moderator will be given up to 10 minutes to present information regarding the resolution motion, the 3 pros and cons from the hearings, and the recommendation of the hearing. That's the neutral moderator's role. The annual meeting moderator's role is a little different. The annual meeting moderator will ask for discussion and limit debate to the therefore be it resolved statements. Up to 4 pro statements for passage, limited to 2 minutes each per speaking delegate are allowed. So people can line up for if you've got a pro or a con, sometimes there's 2 microphones, or you just need to say, are you for or against this resolution? We're going to try to take up to 4 of each if there are people speaking on both sides. Only 2 minutes per delegate for speaking. The motion made to the annual meeting by the neutral moderator or resolution committee chair, if that happens, will be considered the original main motion, fully open to amendment by the annual meeting during the plenary session. Resolution itself is the main motion being considered. The therefore be it resolved statements may be amended in the resolution. However, the basic intent or direction of the resolution cannot be radically altered during the plenary, as determined by the resolution committee chair and annual meeting moderator. You can't turn it around or just go off in another direction that has nothing to do with where the resolution is going. Amendments. This is a little bit tricky, but you can do it. The amendments to the main motion will be made in writing, so they may be added to the slides or with enough paper copies to hand out to delegates. So some forethought about an amendment is helpful. A separate motion will be made to amend the main motion. So someone will stand up and say, I'd like to make an amendment to the motion. That requires a second. If no one seconds it, then it just ends. There's nothing to do. You go back to the main motion. If there's a second, then there's debate on the amendment, and that takes precedence over the main motion, and it ends in a vote to adopt or defeat the amendment. Then we go back to debating the main motion, and that continues as the motion as amended or the original main motion if that amendment did not pass. Again, resolutions of witness need 2/3 vote to pass. A prudential resolution just needs a majority vote. So what happens with adopted resolutions? The resolution committee will review all resolutions adopted by the annual meeting or the board ad interim during the calendar year. This review will occur after the annual meeting, but before the end of the calendar year. The review will include the resolution's recommendations for implementation and funding, and any request for submission by the Michigan Conference UCC as submitter at General Synod. Staff will update the UCC website, resolution webpage, and Google folders with the outcomes of the annual meeting. Remember, resolutions speak to the church, not for the church. We're not telling you what you need to believe, but this group of people is saying, we believe this is what the Holy Spirit is asking us to be about. If you have any other questions, please contact the resolution committee chair. We have FAQ sheet. There's the full document of how to take care of resolutions. There's an outline. There's this PowerPoint. If you need any of that information, let us know. Thanks.